In the news this week, job search overhaul. Can changes to the Jobactive system help you find work?
New union survey reveals a drop in morale as WA police officers felt let down by the government.
Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull formally quits Parliament following leadership spill.
Plus, beach rescue helicopter patrols resumed as winter draws to a close.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Leung and Danielle Staniskov.
Good evening. Young job seekers may no longer need to attend job network appointments after complaints about Jobactive system commitments sparked a review of the scheme. Advocates welcome the changes, but concerns remains that services aren't able to meet the needs of young job seekers. Nelson Liu reports.
Curtis is a job seeker in the federal government's Jobactive unemployment scheme, and he's unhappy with the system.
It's been a poor service.
He says he hasn't received much help while attending consultations with his Jobactive provider, leaving him frustrated.
You're processed in and out of the centre very quickly.
The government is now planning to change appointment requirements to no longer require job-ready Stream A clients like Curtis to travel to Jobactive providers for job search help. But Curtis believes clients still need adequate assistance, despite in-person appointments being the biggest complaint of job seekers.
I think everyone should receive an equal level of support.
The overhaul of the Jobactive service is designed to provide more support for people in the system who need it most, but social services providers believe jobs need to be created.
If there's no jobs for them, how much support and help are you going to be able to give them?
They say the requirements need to be removed to fix a broken system, while focusing on providing help for job seekers.
They should just be taking away the compliance. It doesn't matter about your education level. That should be available to all young people.
Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
Confronting details regarding the morale of Western Australian police has been highlighted in a recent survey. 85% of surveyed officers believe they are not appropriately resourced and are deterring family members from considering the police force as a job option. Taylor Hanna explores this issue further.
The Police Union survey has provided detailed insight into how a number of police officers feel let down by the McGowan government.
Police officers are saying very clearly they don't trust this government, and they're saying that the government doesn't have a priority on law and order.
80% of officers feel law and order is not a priority due to the government's $250 million budget cuts for police, failure to supply important safety equipment, and refusal to give a fair pay rise and no introduction of a workers' compensation scheme as promised. Shadow Police Minister Peter Katzenbarnis said police officers are also not promoting the force as a viable career option for family members and young people.
It's extraordinarily worrying when you hear that young people are thinking of not joining the police force. And it's because of the way that this government continues to mistreat police officers.
Premier Mark McGowan said he has the utmost respect for WA Police and commented on the 4-year high funding of $395 million and additional staffing resources in Metro and regional WA.
We're putting more resources into police, but you can never put as much in as people might like, but we're funding our police to a better standard than ever before.
Mr Katzenbarnis is calling on the government to reverse the budget cuts, follow through on all promises made and provide adequate resources so officers can feel safer when they're out protecting our community. Taylor Hanna, WAMN News.
Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has formally resigned his seat after the controversial whirlwind that was the leadership spill last Friday. After entering Parliament in 2004, Mr Turnbull's 14-year career as a federal member has been fruitful, delivering some big things for Australia. His resignation forced a by-election in the New South Wales seats of Wentworth and is expected to be held in October. Mr Turnbull's breakaway from Australian politics will see him leaving the country for 6 weeks on holiday with his wife Lucy in New York.
Surf Lifesaving WA will begin beach patrols again with the assistance from the state-funded Westpac rescue helicopter, keeping an eye out for sharks, rips and other dangerous ocean risks.
Starting in September, going through to May. We're active on the beach throughout Western Australia with our 31 surf clubs, our 21,000 volunteers, keeping the people of WA safe.
Fisheries Minister Dave Kelly also announced a range of shark mitigation measures. A 12-month trial of smart drumlines in Gracetown will begin in January, with roughly 10 to 12 drumlines being tested, in addition to the expansion of shark monitoring networks. The final costs are unknown until the results of the tender.
Bus passengers on Ranford Road are set to experience improved travel times following the completion of new peak period bus lanes on routes operating to Murdoch train station. With the road becoming an increasingly important travel route, the lanes can accommodate 2 Transperth buses capable of carrying 100 people every 2 minutes during peak hour.
I think this is going to be critical, as we've seen the outer suburbs expand quite rapidly. Traffic congestion has been a big issue in this area for a very, very long time. The current project, these upgrades will provide, especially during peak hours, an easy corridor for buses to travel at high frequency.
There are reports that Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will pay an official visit to China in October in order to establish better relations between both countries. Mr. Abe will arrive in Beijing on the 23rd of October for a 3-day trip. He will also meet with China President Xi Jinping to discuss economic relations. The European Union is recommending the introduction of daylight saving measures with hopes to create better living habits and reduce energy use. But citizens are sceptical whether the plans bring better living standards. The EU can only push forward the plan unless all countries agree with the plan.
And finally this week, WA has one of the wettest winter on record this year. As winter draws to a close and spring approaching, here's Bureau of Meteorology forecaster James Crow to show us this week's outlook.
Perth has just endured the wettest winter since 1965, and while we have moved into spring, that doesn't mean that the rain is going to stop. We're looking at a cold front moving through the southwest of the state during Tuesday and Wednesday. Having said that, the outlook is for a warmer and drier spring season.
And that's our news for this week. You can follow the latest news on our website and Facebook page.
From Daniel and myself and the rest of the team until 8 o'clock next Sunday, a very good evening to you.
Good night.